Hello everyone and welcome to our channel, and today I'll be reading a Scaramouche listener by me. And Happy New Year everyone! Scaramouche was not a pervert. He was not a pervert. He swore it on his soul. But perhaps some of the things that have been ingrained deep in his soul are some of the things that you too have managed to change. Somehow. He had no idea how he did that. But it just so happened that you're able to change many, many things about him, and many things that were very vital to his being. So, when you wore a skirt, it was no doubt that Scaramouche would go a little bit insane inside. He was beautiful, gorgeous, like you had just descended from heaven, and his eyes could not stop following you around, tracing your body, and watching your every move. Perhaps he had a stalker vibe, but you're at home, and it was not like he had anything else to do but watch you, and how beautiful you are, admiring your body, and the way you managed to be so beautiful and perfect, no matter what you were wearing. Maybe the skirt was a little bit old, and honestly, it wouldn't be that fancy. It's not a special skirt or anything, and on anyone else, perhaps it wouldn't even look good. But on you, somehow, you made everything you wore amazing Scaramouche's eyes. So it was no wonder he was mind blown by anything he did. And there was no wonder also that his eyes were not leaving you anytime soon. It was hours that he would end up looking at you, getting constantly distracted from whatever he was doing by you, just in a dainty skirt. What were you doing this time? Was he merely destined to just suffer? Well, being your boyfriend, it meant that he was going to suffer through this a lot. So, Scaramouche, he had a problem. Scaramouche could not be honest with those feelings inside of his heart and mind because he thought that they were too shameful. Besides, it would mean that he submitted to all the changes that you had made to him. Perhaps he had too stubborn of a personality, and he was not able to admit that loving someone could change your heart and a bit of your beliefs, and that's perfectly fine. He was still getting used to the idea of love, and he doesn't want to seem like the impressionable one here. So that's why he doesn't say anything and hopes that he can tough it out, can ignore all the urges that are coming to him. But he was only human. Sometimes you would argue he was more puppet than human, but ever since he knew you, perhaps he had even gained the heart through you and loving you. So that's why it would be hard for him to call himself a human, because what he's feeling right now is definitely not something a puppet would feel. And what his thoughts and mind were conjuring is also not what a puppet would think. Maybe he wanted to look underneath your skirt, just for a second, just a glimpse. Perhaps that was too perverted of him, and it goes against his own codes and morals. But just once, he'll see what it's like, and then forget it ever happened. Right? Just to suppress that urge inside of him and silence it forever. And it doesn't seem to be that easy. He doesn't want to be caught, which means he has to be extremely sneaky with this. And even worse, he's extremely shy and hesitant. And it just so happens that you gave him a perfect opportunity. Scaramouche, in all honesty, never knew if he would have done it or not, but he didn't even need to. The skirt was so short that when he once bent down to pick something up, he ended up not having to look up your skirt at all to see something. He saw a lot, too much. And that's when you felt someone's gaze burning into you. And when I turned around, there he was, staring, and he looked like a deer caught in headlights. Face painted a deep shade of red. When you looked at him, you couldn't help but giggling. Oh, Skira, you know, there's no reason to act like such a pervert. If you want something, just learn to ask for it. He said teasingly, and he froze, trying to come up with a comeback, but there was nothing his throat could muster. He felt like his throat was dry, like there wasn't anything he could say. Dang it, you got him once again. He looked back down, trying not to let you see the blush, but it was too late now. You came and sat down right next to him, wrapping your arms around him and pulling him closer to you, kissing his cheeks. Well, I will say that I wore the skirt just for you, so I'm glad it worked. So, right now, aren't you gonna give me some punishment? Or a reward? I will take anything you give me, he said teasingly, and then he just pouted. I don't want anything, Mayan. You're trying to tease me. But it worked. So, I will reward you then. You can do anything you want. Tonight. Anything you want with me. At that, Scaramouche went bright red. Um, anything? Anything, Scara. Oh, he had way too many ideas, but he was too shy to execute any of them. So at first, he ended up with you just sitting in his lap. The two of you cuddling close. And he told you he wanted you to stroke his hair. It always relaxed him, and he knew that this would help him get over his initial embarrassment with that whole ordeal happening. And he did end up relaxing indeed, his eyes closing with a soft, soothing feeling of your touch. But that's when you leaned in to kiss him softly. Are you sure this is all you want? You then said, and he shook his head. Now recovered, he gave you a snarky smile. I want more, Ryan. I want everything you have to offer. And that's how the two of you ended up in Scara's bed. And what else can I say? Besides, the fact that this was a whole new way to welcome the new year. Pretty great if I'll give you that. And pretty fun too.